Microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Fish Hayes here, coming to you with the newest edition of the Microdose. Yep, we had a week off. It wasn't fun. Like I wish we had a better prep time for that, but it's just what it is. The good news is we're working again. We're working a lot even, and that's definitely not a bad thing. We're looking for guests for this week's show, and wouldn't you know it, friend of the family, Mike Fish, volunteered to be a part of this show. Mike Fish, what's good, dude? How you doing?
Hello. How's it going, guys and gals?
And gals. Dude, we just got out of a Waffle Box episode. You were kind enough to donate your time to be a part of this microdose tonight on the veriest of short notices. How are you doing? And what did you think of tonight's recording?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. I thought it was a very good episode, good recording. It was one of those, you just sit there and just shooting the breeze, and before you know it, holy crap, an hour and a half's gone by, which is always good. Because sometimes, when behind the scenes, I like to produce podcasts that I would like to listen to, if that makes sense. I always think if you're happy with it, then who cares what else people think. So I normally like to try to keep to a tight 1 hour. And sometimes when I'm doing podcasts, you look at the timer and you think, oh my God, it's only 45 minutes in. We need to stretch this out. But yeah, tonight it was just a breeze. It's fun. And then, I mentioned about, if you had a guest for Microdose, you said no, so who's going to possibly skip this week? And I was like, my man, in case of emergency, break glass. Mike Fish is in the house.
That's what's up, dude. That's why you are the friend of the family, and as close as family as you could be without bodily fluids being involved. We appreciate it, homie. So, yeah, man, I'm currently in a situation right now where even as we were recording tonight's Waffle Box, I've talked about it before, where like I have motorcycles running under my house, and at that time, that was happening as it was, and then it branched off to where it wasn't happening for a very long time. So I chalked it up to, oh, mom wasn't home, kids are just being kids, and no one got hurt, and okay. But as we're talking right now, motorcycles are being run under my house. So, to be fair, again, not to be dramatic, being walked under my house and then ridden up and down in front of my house here. And that part, I don't care. In fact, if everything that has happened tonight continued to happen, I'd be A-okay with everything that I've seen right now. And it's leading me to believe that someone's trying to get to a motocross career, a career in motocross, just driving dirt bikes as a living, getting sponsors, winning gold trophies, all that good stuff.
You gotta have a dream.
Have a dream. Yeah, I'm down with it, man. Just don't make me have to look both ways before I exit my house. That's all I've been asking.
And I get it. Why can't people just have less noisy dreams? That's because when you think about it, if you're, let's just say you're in a room and someone's having a dream, when do they tend to be having their dreams? When they're sleeping, and they tend to be quiet. So isn't that the moral of the story? The best dreams are quiet dreams. Stop disturbing me. Well, stop disturbing me with your dreams.
I wish everyone was a poet, Mike Fish. Everyone was just jotting down poetry in their little notepad here. But no, some dreams are a little bit louder. And as we're talking at this recording, it's just after 8 p.m. So the noise decibels, they're not even bothering me. It's just anything that's going under me, that's a problem. And to be fair, these folks pushed it out. Had I not seen it on my video camera, I wouldn't have noticed it. It was weird because in between us now recording this and when we stopped recording Waffle Box, like I went outside and smoked a joint and didn't know anything had happened, and yet it had. But it also reminds me,
I imagine that happens a lot.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right. It also reminds me of the fact that once upon a time, like Bay Area bands, Metallica used to jam out around here. And if it wasn't in San Francisco, it was on the other side of the bay in Marin County. But some suburban neighborhood had to deal with like just a lot of drums and rock music going on, and not knowing like these would be the future Hall of Famers of the world, like just world touring artists, Metallica. But it's just one of those things that I'm thinking about right now. So
Yeah, you don't imagine growing up when you're hearing someone drumming frantically in the background. You think, one day he is going to complain about people downloading music off Napster. I see a bright future for that kid.
That kid with the weird mullet, he's going to be a future Grammy-winning artist. Yeah, that's what's up. That's how that goes.
Future
down.
Grammy-winning artist and old man yelling at clouds meme.
Yeah, and I don't know what the top motocross trophy is, championship is. I hope this kid is getting it. I just hope he's also being safe and not driving under my bedroom, because that's what we're dealing with here. So,
okay, logistically, how is he driving under your bedroom? Is your house on stilts?
It's one of those things where 6 apartments are connected from the left. Another series of apartments are connected around the corner to the right. There's it's a weird layout, dude. I would have to physically show you on a map, but me and my neighbors, we literally look at each other across a walkway. It's literally just a tunnel, a breezeway, if you will. It's big enough for a industrial sized lawnmower to drive through on the various Wednesdays in the morning to trim the grass in the backyard that 16 to 20 other units share. Other than that, though, before 6 months ago, motorcycles weren't a thing.
I don't believe that. I'm pretty sure motorcycles were invented many years ago.
You're very funny. That's why we're friends. But as far as this breezeway I'm talking about, the thing that is literally 4 feet under me, no, wasn't a thing.
Bastard children.
Well, kids will be kids, and that's what I'm chalking it up to. And like I just said, like I saw the safest of things happening tonight. So like, I feel like my neighbor's getting like some kind of tryout for a team. That's what I'm chalking it up to, just being a nosy dude on the video.
Hopefully one day you'll be watching them on the X Games and going, I remember them way back when.
Yeah, right?
Is the X Games still a thing? I don't know.
The X Games are still a thing. It's a very, very specific genre, but they are still a thing. ESPN still runs it.
As we mentioned on a previous Waffle Box, I remember watching on ESPN the World Cornhole Championships.
Oh, yeah. That was a pandemic sport that just blew up.
And now it just entertains me while I'm doing my laundry.
There you go. Hey, man. You know all the players in the World Cornhole Championships?
No.
No, there's not a local dude from New Jersey.
Like a jersey. What would be a good cornhole team name?
Oh, I mean, not being from Jersey, I couldn't tell you, dude. And if anything I do suggest would possibly offend a lot of people. So yeah, you would know better than I at this point, but just yeah.
What would be because typically, the best team names is when you get the geographical location, and then you follow it up with like a random, like
the Jersey
animal.
Jackpots.
Like, no, I would like the Jersey. The Jersey. What's a good vicious animal? You want something intimidating.
Well, you want
the New Jersey spider monkeys.
There are no spider monkeys in Jersey, but even if there were, that doesn't roll off the tongue. I know that doesn't roll off the tongue very well either.
Well, okay. The only
even if there's 100
my way, like
the Jersey Jaguars,
skunks.
No, you want alliteration. You want it to be double J's. The New Jersey Jaguars, the New Jersey Jaguars.
You're saying there's no spider monkeys in Jersey. How many Jaguars do you know around Jersey?
More than there are spider monkeys.
I want to see your showing of this work.
You were closer to me, so you'll have to pick up that information for yourself.
Yeah, it's like I say, all I see, because I've got a lovely setup here. my backyard. Oh, I say lovely. It backs off into like a forest.
Mhm.
So there's like lots of wild. So I often see, deer, badgers, groundhogs, squirrels.
What's another animal name that starts with J that is definitely in New Jersey?
There's not many animals I do know beginning with J full stop, let alone ones in
All right.
Jersey.
Then we're gonna just call it the New Jersey
Yeah,
Jaguars.
we'll go with Jaguars then. Screw it.
Yeah, Jaguars. How do you pronounce
I can't
it?
go 5 minutes without seeing a Jaguar here in Jersey. Oh, all over the fucking place.
It's a stereotype for a reason, sir.
Oh,
Mike Fish, you been watching any TV?
you know what? I have,
Okay.
but because I'm old now.
Yes, you are.
Just recently turned 37, so I remember back in the day. Back in my day, there used to be 4 channels, and then you at the beginning of the week, you would get the TV magazine, the TV listings, and you'd go through the week and you'd circle the crap you'd want to watch. Typically, it was Knight Rider or Baywatch, because who didn't want to be David Hasselhoff and who didn't want to watch Pamela Anderson run down a beach in slow motion? But now it's kind of like you've got like the Spotify's of the world and the Netflix and other stuff. There's so much. I just find it hard to find a new show. So a lot of times I do end up, sticking with old favorites. But the ones I have been, I'm big into Marvel, so I have been watching their stuff. Like the new She-Hulk is very good on Disney Plus. I've been enjoying that. On Hulu for the next day, right, of FX, I've been watching. Is it What We Do in the Shadows? Familiar with that? That's very good.
I'm familiar with that.
And then there's a new show. It's like a documentary series called Welcome to Wrexham. Which is very good. That's following Ryan Reynolds and Rob McKinney. I can't remember how to pronounce his name from Always Sunny. So they're purchasing a 5th-tier football team over in Wales. That's a very good documentary. That's what I've been watching. And then other than that, I've just been, just keeping up with me wrestling. Keeping up with me wrestling. I like to keep me soap operas. I like to call it me soap operas.
Okay, that's fair. I would like to talk to you more about wrestling, but I'm not in the loop. I don't care about whatever that middle show was, but I have seen the She-Hulk. I have been watching Welcome to Wrexham. Let's talk about Welcome to Wrexham at first. It's on Hulu right now.
Let me teach you something first, really.
Break it down.
So this is because the nuances of the English language, and when I'm talking, I'm not being condescending or pedantic. When I say that, I'm talking about that the English language of the English, the people from England. It's very weird, as I'm sure you're aware. So if HAM is a separate, so for example, the meat of a pig, shall we say, that is when you say it's ham. This is ham. But for whatever reason, at some point back in the day, if the HAM is connected to another word at the end, you have to pronounce it for some reason like there's no A. So you just have to go,
So Wrexham.
So it's Wrexham.
So we're pronouncing it phonetically. WRXHM.
Well, no, if you're doing phonetically, it's R. It's the end of an R.
No, thank you.
REXHM. Wrexham.
You even say
like
H weird.
Nottingham. Instead of Nottingham. And
I meant to ask you this on a previous, probably a Waffle Box, if it wasn't a previous Microdose. Why are so many towns and or cities have the word ham in them? What is the commonality to it? Is it street? Is it town? What does ham equate to?
Okay, that's a good question. I do believe it's. I'm going to quickly do some research here. Why do town names end in ham, but I'm pretty sure it's like a shortening of a word.
Because like when I'm in Amsterdam and there's a street that ends in strat, I was like, oh, that's street. Like,
it's a street.
It's
so apparently according to Google, here we go. So I'm correcting it. It's a shortening, but it comes from the old French Hamlet, which is a diminutive form of Hamel, which was itself a diminutive form of Ham, which basically means village.
Village.
Okay.
So Rex.
So there
village.
You go. A bit of education. Rex village.
There you go.
It's like the countries that end in Stan.
Yes.
Stan means land.
Yes.
Language.
Local by choice, international by nature. We just learned something there. So, how are you enjoying the Welcome to Wrexham series so far? We're only about 4 episodes in. I think tomorrow we get a new 2 episodes. Or no, last night we will have had a new 2 episodes because this is Friday.
Indeed. No, I've been very much enjoying it. I think they've done it very well. I think they've done it justice because call me the cynical person. As soon as 2 Hollywood actors purchased a lower league football team, I knew obviously they were definitely going to piggyback off of the success over in America of like things like Ted Lasso and shows of the such, basically. Mm-hmm. So I knew they were going to look at this and making money by doing, producing a documentary or a TV show, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way that they've done it so far is very endearing. I think you can, obviously a lot of it, they do it for show, I think. But then I think even they kind of commented on the show in that, in the way that they live their lives, obviously, as in the case of Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood actor, does everything. He is always in that mode, right? He's always in acting mode. So you can tell I do think they have genuine interests, and I think it was quite endearing when the Always Sunny guy, where he kind of compared Wrexham to Philadelphia growing up. It's kind of like the working man's town and things like that. So he kind of felt that, he could help out them because he wanted to help out Philadelphia. But obviously, the way, Philadelphia, I don't think he has the money to kind of invest and buy the Eagles or anything like that. So I think he kind of saw Wrexham as a way of like being able to help out a small working man's town, like it's the way where he grew up in. And so I do genuinely believe in him, and I think then it comes across, and so it's an exciting show in that it kind of shows you the trials and tribulations of the on-field football action, but also tells you enough about the back scene. Side point, have you ever seen on Netflix the show Drive to Survive? It's about Formula One.
I have not even heard of it.
It's done huge numbers for the American audience in that, so much so. Let's go, behind the scenes. Like this show has done so well for Formula One in America in that ESPN, they currently hold the rights to show the Formula One races in America.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
For that right, they were paying Formula One around $5 million per season for the rights to show a Formula One season, right?
Sure.
Then Netflix produced this Drive to Survive documentary, which basically follows a full season, but it's more of like it is keeping you up to tabs with obviously who's winning, how the race is going, but it's more of the backstage drama and yada, 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 yada.
Mm-hmm.
Through that popularity, the numbers of ESPN has increased so much so that when ESPN went to renew their contracts, Formula One was like, hey, you remember how you was paying us $5 million? Yeah, we want $100 million now. And ESPN paid it because they were like, yep, we are getting our money's worth. Like that's how exponential growth that one show has done for Formula One. And I think I'm not saying it's going to do the same thing over here for fifth tier football, but it's that kind of show where it's like it shows what's going on on the pitch in the football, but it's kind of showing that kind of drama of the backstage. So I think it's a very good show.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Welcome to Wrexham became a thing because of Ted Lasso, like the intentions of Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds? Like, is it not just a coincidence, or
no? I think Ted Lasso did well. One, because it's just, forget the subject. I think it's just a fantastic show. I think it shows it has amazing characters in it and things like that. But I think to a degree, I think Ted Lasso's success, not only was it because it's well written and well acted and things like that, but that I think somewhat piggybacked off the success of the actual Premier League, which is increasing in huge popularity over here in America.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Welcome to Wrexham does well because of those two factors. So more Americans are interested in English soccer, shall we say. Sure. But then the added addition of and Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are involved. I'm sold.
But the question is, do you think that because Ted Lasso was a thing that those two were like, well, let's just buy a football club in Wales?
No, I think it's a combination of the two. I think just because they saw
coincidences.
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. But I think because of the success of Premier League soccer in America and the success of Ted Lasso, I think I would imagine the combination of those two, where they're like, okay, we can combine the popularity of top tier soccer with the endearing storytelling and the I'm trying to think of, but the heart, I guess, of Ted Lasso. If we can combine those two into a show, then we're making money. And I think it's still very early to say, but I think they're on for a winner.
They're obviously two different countries, the United Kingdom and Wales, but like when you see them doing the education push, break it down.
Wales is part of the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So the United Kingdom, yes. So the United Kingdom is the group of England, Scotland, and Wales, three different countries. Yes, okay. Wales and England, two separate countries. Think of it as America and Canada, but Wales is way less interesting. Canada. Canada's way more fun than Wales.
So way less interesting Canada. When you see them going into the local pub that's 10 meters from the actual stadium of the arena, you're like, yeah, that's probably what's going on. Those folks literally depend on the team just existing.
100%. 100%. I know that for a fact to be happening because I remember my team, West Ham United, who play in the Premier League, before they moved to the Olympic Stadium in London, they had a ground called the Bowling Ground. And whenever I would go there, they would literally be on the street walking up to the stadium. There would be 2 or 3 pubs that would get absolutely rammed, like literally shoulder to shoulder on match days. Wow. But then if you went there on a random Tuesday, there would be maybe 5 people in there. So yeah, those pubs that, as they say in that show, that depend on that local football team, 100% those exist all across the country.
And even when they decrease they degrade in level. I don't even know if I'm using the right adverb, but once they go down a click, how much is their business affected by that? Like the local business or the locals still love their team, yes.
Oh, you're talking about if a team drops down a level
from the Premier to the Championship League, right? I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to in England, football, soccer, whatever you want to call it. It's I know it sounds cliche, but it is a religion. It's like a religion in that it's almost like you are appointed a team at birth by your father, and then that is your team. And so you support that team no matter what, ups or downs, yada yada yada. However, if a team does drop down, just naturally you're going to have people who are less interested in paying money and going to see the team playing in a less competitive league or less interesting glitzy league. So they'll just maybe stay at home and watch the game on TV or something like that. So the attendances in the stadiums do tend to drop the further down you go, but that level of support never really changes. I mean, maybe you get like the fair weather fans who, or the glory hunters, as I like to call them, hey, oh my God, this team's winning the league. That's my team. And then when they stop winning the league, oh, I don't care anymore. You're always going to get those. But yeah, those core, this is my local team. They're never going to go anywhere. So that's why literally those Wrexham is in the 5th tier. And had you saw on the documentary, they had probably like 10, 15, maybe even 20,000 people in that stadium, which is incredible when you literally you compare it. And they did a chart on the documentary. That is literally, if you look at the MLB as the Premier League, this is literally the level, the equivalent of your local bar team, basically. Okay. And could you imagine if you and your friends just put together a team and suddenly you have 15,000 people there watching you? That's incredible.
I could not imagine that. I also was amazed by the fact that like one guy was in the Premier League and he was making 3.4 million. I don't know if it was pounds or dollars. We're just gonna say dollars for the sake of this podcast. But then the team dropped a whole tier. And now he's only making like 84,000, which still not bad, but there's a huge discrepancy there. There's a huge, it's very lopsided. 3 million versus 84,000.
Oh yeah, yeah. The big money obviously is in the Premier League top tier. Like you're literally like in terms of prize money, for example, in terms of the money coming into the teams, there are 20 teams in the Premier League. And without even kicking a ball, without even scoring a goal, you could be literally the worst team in that league. You could lose every single game that season, but you are guaranteed that team at least around about $150 million in income.
Wow.
That is how much money that league brings in. So yeah, if a team drops out of the Premier League, that's a huge deal. And so obviously they can suddenly either.
But then the next year you're not making 150 million. You're making significantly less.
Yeah, but it gets very complicated because then what the Premier League, they have a thing what they call parachute payments.
Parachute payments. Okay.
So what they'll do, because obviously they realize if you're in the Premier League, you need to start spending money to be at least competitive. So you need to spend a lot of money on buying new players. You have to be suddenly giving out those high-end contracts.
Okay.
But if you were to drop down from the Premier League, obviously your income is going to be dramatically cut and you're not going to be able to afford those contracts that you signed. So therefore, you're probably going to go out of business.
Wow.
So what the Premier League does, and I think it's a really cool thing, is that let's just say Cush Hayes FC is in the Premier League.
I love this team.
But then unfortunately, you finish last place in the Premier League.
Fuckers.
You drop down to the Championship. What the Premier League will do is they'll guarantee you, I think it's something like $30 million per season for 3 seasons.
Oh.
So that gives you 3 seasons of at least, not the same amount of income, but at least a decent amount of income for you to at least either afford to pay those contracts until they run out or to get back up to the Premier League to where you can start making more money. So it's an interesting thing, but it's very complicated. But
holy shit, sounds like a lot of bankruptcy involved.
Unfortunately, you do, especially obviously in the last couple of years, you've seen a lot of teams struggle because, as mentioned we get back to the Welcome to Wrexham documentary, that the teams that low down, they're obviously not getting mega contracts from TV companies because they're not showing 5th tier football on TVs, so they're not getting that money. So pretty much all their revenue is ticket sales. And obviously during the pandemic, they weren't obviously able to sell tickets. So a lot of teams in that area were struggling, shall we say.
Oh. So like my San Francisco Giants, they eventually got a new arena, a new ballpark.
I bet taxpayers pay for that.
Taxpayers paid for it, but also Pac Bell, which eventually became AT&T, which then would sell it off to Oracle. But that's a whole other story. So the ballpark for like 15 years was sold out. And then 2014, we had our last World Series. The following year, 2015, like it was not a good season by like any scale. Like maybe the worst season we had since like 1985. It was bad. And then finally, we didn't have a sellout after 15 plus years. And it affected the whole local economy, quite honestly. It was pretty crazy. So that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, it's like you think it's just like a team, but it does affect the greater area. Like my hometown where I'm from, Grays in Essex, they have a team called Grays Athletic, and they are even further down than Wrexham. But they, due to this whole long story short, the guy who owned the team also owned the stadium, but through contracts, the team never owned the stadium. The same guy owned the team and the stadium.
Okay.
But then he passed away.
Oh.
So his son suddenly owned the stadium, and he was like, screw this, I'm going to sell it to make money. And he sold it to developers, and they knocked it down and built apartment buildings. And so the team was suddenly without a place to play.
Oh, wow.
And so they had to basically, they're still called Grays Athletic, but they play in like a neighboring town. And you could just tell like how just removing, even though that team maybe had, on a good day, they had like 1,000 people there. But you could just tell just removing that from the local town just almost removes the soul from that town. It's so bizarre.
Well, I feel like we could talk about this for another hour or so, but I'm gonna cut us off right here, Mike Fish. So anything you want to plug?
Yes. If you've enjoyed our inane ramblings about This is Wrexham and football in England, then you should tune in to Waffle Box each and every Wednesday, where we don't talk about football at all, but we talk about anything and everything and all things in between. So go to enjoywafflebox.com to get all your links, so you can just listen to it or watch it every Wednesday. New episodes, myself and this guy, Kush Hayes. It's the best part of Wednesdays. It's the best part of Wednesdays. Everyone says it. But yeah, that's pretty much all on show. And if you want to check out my live streams, you can go to twitch.tv/popcouture. That's POPCOUTURE.
Guys, I wish I was plugging the newest episode of Sweet Science Cinema, but we're not. And life gets in the way. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I think we talked a little bit about it on a previous Waffle Box. But if we didn't, I don't know when the next episode is going to be, if there's going to be a next episode. And that's all there is to it. So, although
just think if it's a surprise. If it would be come out, it would be like, oh my God, it's a new episode.
That would be great, right? That would be pretty fantastic even.
So if you do listen to Sweet Science Cinema, stay subscribed, and one day you might get a treat in your inbox. That's all we're saying.
There you go. All your dreams will come true. So
quiet dreams.
Otherwise,
if you've learned anything from this episode of Microdose that I'm totally sabotaging, have a dream, hold on to the dream, but keep it quiet, keep it down, because people are trying to sleep.
That's what's up. From Mike Fish, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
from the BosNet family.
Have a dream, hold on to the dream, but keep it quiet, keep it down, because people are trying to sleep.